This lecture is basically based on the second chapter of our 11th standard biology, biological classification. Here I will focus more on the Neet syllabus. The chapter deals with biological classification. This lecture includes the classification of different animals, plants, viruses existing on this earth, and what all the basis of classification will be discussed in this lecture. Initially, the classification was done in stepwise. Now, before I discuss with you people about the actual classification, biological classification, I would like to brief out the initial steps which were taken by some of the scientists for classifying the different plants, animals, etc. surviving on the earth. The earth's classification was done by Aristotle. He used simple morphological characters which can classify plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs. He also divided or classified animals into two groups based on the presence of RBC, that is a red blood corpuscle, and the absence of it. First, initially, there were two kingdom system of classification. It was postulated by Carolus Linnaeus in the year 1758. The two kingdom classification was first one plantae, which included all the plants. Second, it was the animal. So it was named as kingdom Animalia, which include all the animals. Then came the three kingdom system of classification, which was proposed in the year 1866 by Ernst Haeckel. And those were the first kingdom Protista, which included unicellular organisms. Then came the kingdom Plantae, which included the multicellular plants. Then came kingdom Animalia, which included the multicellular animals. Next came the four kingdom classification. The four kingdom classification was postulated by Copeland in the year 1966. It included kingdom Monera, which includes prokaryotic organism. Then it included kingdom Protista, which included primitive eukaryotes. Then it included kingdom Metaphyta, which includes advanced eukaryotic plants. Then the last kingdom under the four kingdom classification included kingdom Metazoa, which included advanced eukaryotic animals. Finally, R.H. Whittaker in the year 1969 landed on postulated the five kingdom classification. One is the kingdom Monera, second one is the kingdom Protista, third one is the kingdom Mycota. Now it is called as kingdom fungi, and the study of fungi it's called as mycology, and that's the reason why it is called as kingdom Mycota. Then came the kingdom Metaphyta, and then it was the kingdom Metazoa. These were names were then modified. The kingdom Metaphyta was then modified into kingdom Plantae, and the kingdom Metazoa was then modified into kingdom Animalia. Now let's see the scientist. You need to know at least you have to distinguish which are those scientists. Like who is Carl Linnaeus? Carl Linnaeus is the one who proposed two kingdom system of classification. Then Ernst Haeckel, he proposed three kingdom of classification, which we have just recently discussed. Then Copeland in 1956, he discovered four kingdom of classification, including Monera, Protista, Plantae, and Animalia. Then finally, R.H. Whittaker in the year 1969, he postulated the five kingdom system of classification, which is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Next, now we will be discussing in the next slides that the different I mean to say what are those two kind system of classification, then three system of classification, then four, and then six, and then five system classification. Initially, let's begin with the two kingdom classification. This was postulated by Carl Linnaeus in the year 1758. So, two kingdom classification was Plantae and Animalia. But this two kingdom classification was developed which included plants in Plantae and animals were developed, were grouped into Animalia kingdom. But this system, it did not distinguish between eukaryotes and prokaryotes. It did not distinguish between unicellular and multicellular organism. It did not distinguish between photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic organism. That's the reason why this system, this two kingdom of classification was failed, and later on, for more accuracy, the 5-kingdom system of classification was postulated, which gave us a clear-cut picture about the different species existing on the earth. Two-kingdom of classification was postulated by Carolus Linnaeus in the year 1758. All the living beings, they were classified into two categories only. One is the kingdom Plantae and other one is the kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Plantae includes only the plants and Animalia included only animals. Now there are some points that you need to remember on what basis they were classified. One is in the category of plants and other one is in the category of animals. It was, the first point was cell wall. Cell wall is present in plants, it's absent in animal. Then you come about the criteria locomotion, which was absent, and the plants cannot move. So locomotion was absent in plant and locomotion was present in animals. What is the mode of nutrition? Plants, they do not eat, but they can manufacture their food. But animals, they eat, but they cannot manufacture the food on their own. That's the difference between plants and animals with respect to mode of nutrition. Then comes response to external stimuli. Response to external stimuli is absent in case of kingdom Plantae, but the animals, they respond to the external stimuli very well. Then comes a contractile system, which includes the skeletal systems, which are absent in the plants, but they are present in the animals. Except diatoms, chlamydomonas, euglenoids, these were classified under kingdom Plantae, but they were showing the presence of the contractile system. Now, let's discuss about the 5-kingdom classification. According to Robert Harding Whittaker, in the year 1969, you call the famous scientist as R.H. Whittaker. He is famous with the name R.H. Whittaker. He was the one who proposed the 5-kingdom classification. The 5 kingdoms were, first one, let's start with Monera. Second one was Protista. Third one was fungi. Next came the Plantae, and the fifth one is Animalia. Now, when you talk about Monera, they were prokaryotic, unicellular, absorb or photosynthesize. They were motile, they were non-motile, and the mode of reproduction was asexual. When you talk about Protista, they were eukaryotic, unicellular or multicellular. Their mode of nutrition was absorption or ingestion, or they can photosynthesize, and the mode of reproduction can be sexual as well as asexual. Then you talk about fungi. They are eukaryotic, multicellular, their mode of nutrition is absorption, and they are non-motile in nature, and their reproduction is sexual reproduction. When you talk about the kingdom Animalia, they are eukaryotic in nature, they are multicellular, the mode of nutrition is ingestion, and they are motile in nature, and the reproduction is sexual mode of reproduction. When you talk about the last kingdom, which is the kingdom Plantae, they are eukaryotic in nature, they are multicellular, they can photosynthesize, they are non-motile in nature, and the mode of reproduction is sexual mode of reproduction. So, in short, this is nothing but the 5-kingdom classification proposed by R.H. Whittaker. Next, the domain Eukarya, that is the eukaryote, is divided into 2 kingdoms. Initially, it was the 5-kingdom system. All the bacteria were included under the kingdom Monera. You can see over here, they were the Monera, which includes all the bacteria together. But later on, the Monera, they were divided into 2 domains. Monera, they were divided into 2 domains, and Monera included prokaryotic organism, while rest of all were the eukaryotic organism. Rest of all in the sense Protista, Plantae, Animalia, fungi, all these were eukaryotic organism. all the prokaryotic organisms, they were put into Monera. But later on, Monera was again divided into two domains. One is Eubacteria, other one is Archaebacteria. Eubacteria were the unicellular prokaryotic, even Archaebacteria were unicellular and they were prokaryotic in nature. Finally, sixth kingdom classification was established, which split Monera into kingdom Archaebacteria and kingdom Eubacteria. In the next lectures, you will understand what is the characteristic feature of these Monera type of bacteria. Next comes the characteristic feature of each type of kingdom. Let's start with the Monera. We have several points over here as a characters, such as cell type, then cell wall, then nuclear membrane, then body organization, then mode of nutrition. Now Monera, the cell type is prokaryotic and the cell wall is non-cellular. They are made up of polysaccharide and an amino acid. The nuclear membrane is Monera. Next, body organization is cellular level of organization. Mode of nutrition is autotrophic and heterotrophic. Chemosynthesis and photosynthesis is present among the autotrophs. At the same time, saprophytic and parasitic mode of nutrition is present among the heterotroph. Next, protista. The cell type, they are eukaryotic in nature. Cell wall is present in some of the organism. Nuclear membrane is present. Body organization is in the form of cellular organization. Mode of nutrition, it is autotrophic and it is heterotrophic. It is photosynthetic when it is autotrophic in nature. Next, the plantae, the fungi kingdom. Fungi, it belongs to eukaryotic organism. Cell wall is present and it is not made up of cellulose, of chitin. Next, nuclear membrane is present in fungi. Then body organization is multicellular loose tissue. Mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. They can be saprophytic as well as parasitic in nature. Next kingdom is plantae. They are eukaryotic in nature. The cell wall is present and they are made up of cellulose. And the nuclear membrane is also present. Body organization is a tissue level and organ level type of body organization. Next comes the autotrophic. The mode of nutrition, they are autotrophic in nature, or you can say they are photosynthetic in nature. Next, about the cell type of eukaryotic, the cell type of the animalia, they are eukaryotic, and then the animalia, the cell wall is absent, the nuclear membrane is present in animalia kingdom. Body organization is tissue level, organ level and organ system level of organization. The mode of nutrition animalia is heterotrophic and they can be holozoic as well as they can be saprophytic in nature. Next is, you can see over here is, it's a diagrammatic representation of the 5 kingdom system. There are certain criteria which was established by Whittaker to demonstrate the 5 kingdom system of classification. Now what are those criteria? The criteria, the first one is the complexity of the cell. Second one, it is a complexity of the organism. Third one is a mode of nutrition. And the fourth one is a major ecological role or the lifestyle of the organism. Now let's start each one of this. But how you need to study this particular part? First, you need to remember the 5 system of classification kingdom. One is kingdom Monera, second is kingdom Protista, third place it's nothing but kingdom Plantae, then comes the kingdom Fungi, and then is the kingdom Animalia. This is nothing but the direction of evolution which is shown over here. Now here you can see the complexity of the cell. They are eukaryotes. Now the upper part, when you talk about kingdom Monera, they are prokaryotic in nature and they are autotrophs. They are chemosynthetic. Okay. At the same time, when you talk about the kingdom Protista, they are unicellular in nature and they are eukaryotes. At the same time, when you talk about the complexity of organism, about kingdom Plantae, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Animalia, they are multicellular in nature. When you talk about the mode of nutrition, about the kingdom Plantae, they are autotrophs and they are photosynthetic because they include the plants. Next, when you talk about kingdom Fungi, the mode of nutrition, they are heterotrophs and their absorption is a mode of nutrition. When you talk about kingdom Animalia, they are heterotrophic in nature and ingestion is a mode of nutrition. Then we can talk about the ecological role, or you can talk about what is the lifestyle of each of this kingdom. The first one is a kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae, these are the producers, and kingdom Fungi are the decomposers. Kingdom Animalia are the consumers. So these are nothing but the basic knowledge about the biological classification of the different organisms which exist on this earth. My next lecture will start with the first kingdom, which is Monera. Thank you.